Hey everybody, Derrick Soo, 2022 Oakland Mayoral candidate. We're down here at the Oakland City Hall, and Allyssa Victory, my friend, also running for City of Oakland Mayor, is going to make an announcement here shortly. So stay tuned, we're going to set this up and get ready for Alyssa's announcement.
Thank you all for being here. Have a good Monday. It's very hot out. Time for printing and all that. We gotta make it work.
heard it was better. You got the good stuff. I'll keep it up. A couple years ago, we'll be having some victories. Okay. Cool.
Right here, right? Oh, okay. Like next to the mic? Where do you want to?
Afternoon.
You can right here, like that when she talks, talk to all the mics. Very
You
good.
see how many times you say it right. I'm glad you got something about this because
Yeah, it will be more perfect. But you want to put it in the first one, because they get closer to her. No, you don't have to go. Just talk normal.
Mic check. Mic check.
Yeah, I don't think
You hear me? Can y'all hear me?
so.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you all for being here. My team, we're ready to go.
All right.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give a very short statement. We'll accept questions and be around for individuals or for photos after. I'm Allyssa Victory Villanueva. I'm a candidate for Oakland Mayor. For the last 2 weeks, I was illegally disqualified by the City of Oakland from appearing on the November 8th ballot. However, after 2 weeks of fighting, after 2 weeks of people showing up to support me, including elected officials across the Bay Area and the state, the city has now deemed me qualified to appear on this ballot. There will be another random drawing to determine our ballot order, but we have made a victory in this short fight as I am fighting to be the next mayor of Oakland. I'm gonna read from my script. I hate reading from scripts, but I'm a little emotional. I was disqualified due to my endorser signatures. Endorser signatures are required only by our city code and are separate from the nomination petition signatures. They are intended to allow non-citizens and people who are not allowed to or not registered to vote to be represented on our public ballot. I fought hard disputing this illegal disqualification, calling down allies from our state, from our region, from our Democratic Party, from our community here, our people power, our progressive organizations, and those that love democracy and fair elections. Ultimately, the Secretary of State's Elections Office, as well as our City Attorney's Office, was responsive, was helpful, and helped us reach this ultimate resolution. It's okay to be excited, y'all. I received confirmation on Friday that I was correct on the law and that they were going to review my endorser signatures. I received confirmation this morning around 11:14 p.m. or a.m., that I was qualified for the ballot by the city clerk. I will be placed on the public ballot under the name Allyssa Victory Villanueva, a name that I also had to fight to have appear on this ballot. I was challenged in using my legal name, my married name, the name that I have gone by for the last 6 years. And I also was victorious on fighting the city on that aspect. This is a huge win for our campaign. This is a huge relief after 2 weeks of nearly pausing all of our campaign activities to address our illegal disqualification. However, this is not complete justice. Standing behind me were other candidates who were disqualified due to the clerk's misconduct and other illegal behavior. They include Monisha Carter, Derrick Soo, and Albert Owens. All identify as Black and API residents of this city. Some identify as homeless. I'm formerly homeless myself in this city. I'm running not just for myself now, I'm running to represent them as well. I'm grateful to already have the endorsement of Ms. Carter, who is a professional journalist, who is also an educator, and who is running to represent this city. I'm running to be the first Black woman, the first renter, the first civil rights attorney, the first union member, who is going to be the next mayor of Oakland in this open seat. I look forward to your support as we relaunch this campaign, as we revolutionize this city, and as we hold the city accountable as you've already seen me do in the last 2 weeks. Join me at victoryforoakland.com as we reach victory this November 8th. I'm happy to take any questions from the press or from the public that are here.
So I understand you rushed to meet the deadline, but some other candidates also did. But do you know if you're the only person who's impacted disqualification reversed?
To my knowledge, I am the only candidate who has had the disqualification reversed. Again, I did rush to City Hall along with 5 other candidates on Friday the 12th to file my paperwork after getting my appointment canceled and having a last-minute call from the city clerk that the deadline had been changed and moved up. Other candidates have been prejudiced in this entire process. There are many other errors that I've raised to our state elections office as well as to our city attorney's office so that there is complete justice as well as an investigation around how so many candidates were affected by so many different issues in our city's process.
Did the city explain why they initially had the different interpretation of the endorser signature requirements? What information did they give you when they told you that you now qualify for the
The city initially did not want to review my legal dispute. They said that this was about nomination petition signatures, that they didn't have any discretion to accept less than the state law required. I responded that this is separate from the nomination signatures. These are endorser signatures that are only required by our city code, that our city officials have full authority to interpret and to implement. It was not until Friday that I received a call from our city attorney's office saying that they had reviewed thoroughly and agreed with my position and that my endorsers were sufficient and that I would get a confirmation from our city clerk today.
How were you able to, fight that 2-week apparent legal battle to get your name back on the ballot? What did you have to give them in order for them to verify that you were correct?
I was already preparing a declaration to the city attorney's office to dispute my name challenge, to attest to what had happened during the filing period and that I should be listed as Allyssa Victory Villanueva on the ballot. And when I found out that I had been disqualified due to my endorser signatures, I then added that dispute. I then added on behalf of the 5 others who were prejudiced in their filing appointment and the 3 others who were similarly disqualified. I had to write statements to our city attorney's office, memos to them. I collected declarations from my fellow opponents, not just those who were disqualified, but those who did qualify for the ballot. I was supported by a majority of my opponents in this race because they want to see fair elections and democracy in this city. I've made public statements to the press. Thank you all for being here and following through on this story. I made social media posts to let the general public beyond Oakland know what is happening in our city. I called on our Democratic clubs to make statements, to draft resolutions, and they were in process of doing those things in support of me. I also had a petition for others to sign on to demand that I be placed on the ballot and qualified immediately, that there also be an investigation and equitable relief. I had to make a Secretary of State elections complaint using those same declarations and memos and legal analysis that our city attorney first refused to acknowledge. And talked with many attorneys, with many counsel, with many electeds about pushing a just response, pushing someone to simply read my papers, the law of our own city, to make sure that justice was served. Yes.
Keith Burbank with Bay City News. I was wondering, the problem that you had with the endorser signatures, was that in any way affected by the change in the date, from August 12th to August 17th? Or August 17th, August 12th?
It was not. There's a minimum of 10 endorser signatures required by our city law. I submitted 11 on Friday the 12th when I filed the rest of my paperwork. I met the minimum. But again, the city understood those to be nomination signatures and required that they be verified as voters. That is not what our city code says. They must only be residents of our city, and again, is intended to allow non-voters, non-citizens to be represented on our ballot. And so the city got the signature types confused and applied the same rule to them both, even though they're in separate city codes. So had I had more time and abided by the original deadline, I could have collected more signatures just to be sure that all of them were sufficient, but they still were, as we've seen today. Yes, Ms. Melody.
My name is Melody Davis. I'm a community activist for West Oakland, basically all over. So what happened was the whole scenario was somewhat bogus, because it sounded like to me you didn't add anything extra. They had it wrong. Am I standing correct for what you're saying? They had it wrong, and it's kind of like pointed against you per se and the other people, because you guys are like not council members. I mean, I'm trying to get the logistics of it. Really, what happened?
Thank you for being here, Ms. Melody.
You're welcome.
I have nothing but good faith in our city staff, in our city electeds, that this was a confusing issue. This was an unprecedented issue that affected over half of the candidates in this race, even those who qualified. It was still a very chaotic Friday the 12th, trying to file with the last minute notice of the change of the deadline. And there have been many other errors by the clerk that caused so much injustice, so much confusion, so much strife among not just myself and my campaign, but others who are standing here with me. So I do not put blame on any one person. I believe justice has been served as to my endorser signatures, right? Not complete justice for everyone who wanted to run, who intended to run. Some of these candidates have been running since 2019, right, for this race, committed to our city and its service. I believe that it took time and delay for people to really get it right, for them to understand the law themselves, and for them to consult with all of the different professionals, staff, and electeds that were required. I have the benefit, though, of being a civil rights attorney, of having worked inside of our city attorney's office, of understanding how things are supposed to move and supposed to operate. And it took the city 2 weeks to agree with me.
Do you think you still have a fair chance?
Absolutely. I think my chances are even stronger now. That if this was intentional or in some way orchestrated with other people, that this has only brought more light to the issues going on with our city, with our democracy, and the threats to people of color to be represented in our democracy. This is an open seat, and this is a really historic election. This is a historic campaign now for more reasons than I had planned, and this is drawing more people to support me, to want to talk with me. So many candidates even shared their similar stories. Candidates from other cities who are running for mayor called and reached out to me. I asked you all to continue to reach out to me, but I think this has only made me stronger, and my resolve is much more stronger to win on behalf of those who were pushed out of this ballot.
Right on. Right on. Right on.
Some people were calling on the city council to intervene and to raise attention to this issue, including 3 council members who are currently running for mayor. Do you believe they should have, or did they speak out about this?
I will say the majority of council candidates contacted me personally, tried to move justice internally at the city with their own authority and influence, or made public statements in support of me. This is also a reflection of our strong mayor government. Council does not have the power as a body to direct the clerk or the city attorney or to force any changes. They could advocate, they could seek the same information, they could help me get a response from our city clerk, from our city attorney, but those are part of our executive branch. Those are offices that are funded through our city dollars, but they're controlled by our city administrator's office. Our city attorney is also elected separately from our rest of our council members. So again, they cannot direct our city attorney, but can advocate, can be loud about it, and can also help move things internally. And that is what a majority of them did.
How has this experience prepared you for the run now and perhaps becoming a mayor?
Ooh, well, it's allowed me to, flex my government law skills It's allowed me to help shed light on, again, the crisis of our democracy, of fairness, of even just efficiency. I know that some of these offices are understaffed and had a struggle with just managing everything, administering everything. We need to have high quality public services in this city, including with our city clerk and our fair elections office, including with our city attorney, which is the law firm for our city, to help advise them on avoiding lawsuits, avoiding exposure to liability, and protecting and preserving people's civil rights and civil liberties in the city of Oakland. I feel stronger having gone through this process, and I feel vindicated that the city has now agreed with me and that voters will be allowed to vote for me, that they have an option to vote for someone that looks like them, that's also been harmed and gone through injustice like them in this city. All right. Thank you all. I'll be available for individuals or for photos. I also just want to really thank my endorsers, my donors, my supporters, my volunteers that have stood with me even through the uncertainty, people who've continued to interview me, to give me a platform, even when they weren't sure that I was going to truly be a candidate. Again, want to thank my fellow opponents in this race for standing with me unified in wanting fair elections and democracy in this city. I also want to thank my campaign team and my staff because it was not possible to even get to this point without them. And again, they've stayed faithful and hopeful through this really rough last 2 weeks. So thank you all. Again, I have printed press statements that are available on the table.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there you have it. Allyssa Victory is on the ballot. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be right back.
Hi there.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm Valina with NBC Bay Area.
Okay.
Are you available to do an
Yes.
interview just about your
let me-
process?
Yeah, let me just put this away.
Yeah.
And
Are you still fighting to get back on the ballot?
yes,
Okay.
I am.
Okay.